creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Friday, September 7th, 2018, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and here with me in our Orlando studios, our illustrious engineer on the ones and twos, my brother, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
On the Skype line, back where he belongs, in Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
On the Skype line from Nashville, Tennessee, Tyler Huckabee.
Hey, everybody.
And joining us all the way from a mile away from Tyler, author, speaker, podcaster, Annie F. Downs.
Good morning, gents.
Whenever I drive by the church there, Annie, I give a little. I know you're not in there all the time. Oh, maybe you are.
Maybe she is.
I kind of think of you as
she
being
prays
in the
without
church
ceasing.
24/7.
She does not leave the church.
Seems terrible. Seems like a terrible life. But there's a lot of other places you could drive by and wave, and better chance of you finding me there. But thank you.
Tyler, you're never tempted just to do a pop-in like on 90s sitcoms, you know? Just knocking on the door, popping in.
Right across from the church is Topgolf. So it's that classic Sunday morning dilemma when you're driving. If you're going to drive to Cross Point Church, do I want to swing in to Cross Point and get the word? Or do I want to pop over to Topgolf there and just take a few swings?
I was so waiting on you to do a double
There's
swing.
A swing.
There.
There's a swing into church or a swing in the golf club.
Yeah.
Joke.
Take a couple hacks, as I call it. Take some hacks at Topgolf.
I've never golfed in my life. You guys could be saying I don't know what these words mean.
Yeah,
but
nor I.
It's not real golfing. It's like swinging a ball. It's like a real life pinball machine. That's basically what Topgolf is.
It's like real life pinball. I would have gone a long time ago if I knew that. I thought it was like golfing where you stood still, and I wasn't feeling that at all.
No, it's super, super fun. It's like Cameron said, so you stand up on this platform and you smack the ball and it goes into these cool light up target zones, and you can be horrible and it's gonna roll somewhere.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And it lights up every time I hit it.
And you get different points for different things. And again, you don't have to be good at golf at all. It's just like a fun social experience where there's like food and music and you're outdoors.
I think it is pretty wild that they have it's like the tree of knowledge of good and evil, like having that turn, right? It's a light, and you take a left, you're in Cross Point, you take a right, you're golfing. This is like a tool of the devil for church people. It's your last out.
I could show up Sunday morning, or I could beat the lines at Topgolf and
Maybe both.
get a brunch and a mimosa. Hey, speaking of golf, did you guys see last Sunday? It was the final day of one of the PGA tournaments, and Tiger Woods was playing, and he was in the hunt. And he was wearing what Tiger Woods always wears on Sundays, which is a red polo and black pants. That's his thing.
Always on Sundays?
He always wears it. If he's made the cut up until Sunday, he wears it at all. That's his uniform. So, like, for a golf tournament, they take place over 4 days, and you have to make the cut each day. And if you're in it on Sunday, you have a chance to win. So Tiger Woods, he always wears the same thing on Sunday. It's like his game day, and it's a red polo with black pants, right? There was a guy this weekend who looked just like Tiger Woods. I mean, identical. When I first saw the picture on Twitter, I thought, no, I didn't read the tweet. I saw the picture. I'm like, oh, there's Tiger Woods. He's smiling and taking pictures with people, which is very uncharacteristic of Tiger Woods. He doesn't smile and he doesn't take pictures with people. But this guy who looked just like Tiger Woods wore the red polo and black pants and like a Nike hat, and showed up at the golf tournament and was tricking fans into thinking he was Tiger Woods.
Yeah, was he doing it on purpose? That's what I was going to ask you. Was he purposely trying to be like, you think you're getting a picture with Tiger, but you're not?
And then he started following like Tiger's, Tiger from tee box to tee box. And there were moments where Tiger Woods would look at him, not acknowledge him, but the guy had a bigger crowd around him than the actual Tiger Woods. And I appreciated that. Like, I appreciated the fact that he's like, today's the day. I'm showing up in the Tiger Woods uniform. It was fantastic.
Jesse, if you could impersonate one celeb, like bask in the fame of one celebrity for a day, who would it be?
Like I could appear as a doppelganger. I would go.
Yeah, as a doppelganger. No, you wouldn't have their life, but other people would think that you have.
It would
their
be
life.
like I would try to think of the most super famous person ever,
Chris Pratt,
and just see. I don't know who I could possibly pass for.
Like Brad Pitt, like an A-list.
Yeah. Like
A-lister.
Obviously, I mean, you're looking at me, it's like, okay, Ryan Gosling, obviously.
Theater of the Minds. Picture Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, theater. I mean, if you could age me up to be like a Brad Pitt, that would probably work. No, but I think that'd be super fun. Is for people to think you're somebody else.
Man,
just for
the
a day,
interesting thing about the Tiger Woods kid, I just looked him up. He literally looks exactly like Tiger Woods, and you have to. Talk about the right Sunday in the right city, and that guy being the right age. I mean, like so many things had to line up for that to go perfectly.
And he's wearing the Tiger Woods hat too. I mean, he's like, he knows what he's doing. He's wearing the TW hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does look significantly friendlier than I've ever seen Tiger Woods look.
Especially on a Sunday. Tiger Woods is all business on Sunday. He's there to win golf tournaments, not make friends, not make fans, you know? I think if I were Tiger Woods, I would hire the dude to go and be friendly me. You know what I mean? This is like, look, man, I don't have the energy or really the empathy to talk to my fans. I would just hire that guy to go do it for me. You know?
Remember when Hannibal Buress hired a Hannibal Buress impersonator to go to the red carpet premiere of Spider-Man Homecoming because he hates going to red carpets and doing interviews?
And that's the great thing is he crowdsourced it. He basically said, I want to send someone in my place
over
and
Twitter.
Not tell them. And he picked a guy that looked nothing like him.
It was a really loose connect. Like there was no line there.
like,
but it worked.
Yeah. Like,
because he's not like super famous. So you could kind of get, I guess that's Hannibal Buress. You could
reporters
get away with
were interviewing him as Hannibal Buress, even though it was just like a guy Hannibal Buress found on Twitter. And the guy was just answering questions off the top of his head, was just guessing.
I just don't think you get to do that. I think you have to show up because that's part of the gig, right?
I think it's way better to use the impersonator.
Yeah, I think it's
apparently not.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's way funnier to use an impersonator.
Well, to be sure,
all
it's
of
way
them should do
funnier
it from now on. That should be the only. Those are the only red carpet interviews I'm interested in from now on. People who don't actually know the answers, but they look like they don't look like them. They kind of possibly
dress like
pass
them or
in a dark room.
I think the only place I've ever seen a red carpet interview actually be used was like at that one channel in your hotel room. You know, the default movie preview channel. Sure. Like they have those. That's the interviews. There?
Hey, it's Drew Barrymore. What's your favorite place to eat in Tucson? And she's like, the hotel.
Unless you watch it live, like on E! News or on MTV before the MTV Movie Award. Unless you're watching it live, that red carpet stuff you don't really see again, do you?
Yeah. Hey, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, Craig Groeschel joins us. And so we're mixing things up. If you noticed, we put out a show on Tuesday this week, and this is the Friday show. You guys spoke. I mentioned on the last episode, but you guys spoke, and you like the 2 episodes a week. You've told us, but you just want them a little further spaced out. So we're going to be releasing shows on Tuesday morning and Friday morning moving forward. Changes our recording a little bit. It also changes what each show will entail. We're moving things where the Friday show, today's show, we'll have In Case You Missed It, and the Tuesday show will have Slices. Also, joining us on the show today will be our Listener of the Week. So Friday will be Listener of the Week. Tuesday will be your Question of the Week. So, it's how we do. We keep things evolving. You can't stay still.
Cameron and I were discussing the new schedule in the car last week. We were driving around Orlando and we're discussing it in the car. And I think we confused each other at least 6 times about the different segments and the different days until we got out the pen and paper, the string of yarn, the thumbtacks, a world map. And what are those? An abacus. We
not
had
a protractor,
until we
not
broke
a
out the
compass.
abacus. We did not know.
Yeah.
We finally got it figured out.
But actually today, we don't have the Listener of the Week. I misspoke. Today, if you remember last week's show, we have the listener interaction segment, Ask Jesse. Jesse's going to be doling out some life coach.
Of this. I'm so scared of this.
Life coach advice. I've been seeing some of the questions coming in on Twitter, and there's some good ones.
I know. I did too. We'll wait. But I'm excited.
Wait. So you've seen these already. So you're primed. So you've been preparing the answers because I was thinking you'd go in blind. So you've been cheating.
No, I looked at them, but I didn't think about them. That because here's the thing about when I do something, particularly that's life altering for another person, like giving advice that they must take. I shoot from the hip. I am led by my heart and my gut and my instincts, not my brain. And that's how, because that's how life should be lived. So, I'm excited to change a life today,
or multiple lives.
Wow.
Our lawyers are looking over. I mean, they're panicking, but but it's too late. We're in it. We're recording. We're recording. They're trying to get my attention. I can't. I don't understand. I don't speak sign language. We're fine.
The lawyers, they are very concerned because they're looking at the video monitors here, and they can see how disheveled and sunburned Jesse looks. He looks like a wild man.
Yeah, Jesse, what's the sunburn about? Tell us more about that.
Labor Day weekend, man. You got to be outside, just soaking up the rays. I mean, that's what you do.
I don't know, man. You look like you came off a bender. You look like the guy in the movie who just wandered in, like he's been missing from his family.
That's what I'm saying.
Dead,
that's why they're concerned.
He stumbles into the funeral.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, what are you guys doing on Labor Day weekend? I thought you basically described my weekend.
I meant to be outside all weekend, and the weather had other plans, so it just rained.
Oh,
nonstop.
did it rain on you the whole weekend, Cameron?
The whole weekend. Yeah.
So
we were just inside playing
terrible.
Fortnite.
Ironically, it rained here the entire time too. I don't even know how I got this sunburn. Like I said, most of the weekend's a blur, so it's very strange.
Well, we had like a pretty busy week last week, so it's understandable that it would be a blur afterwards. I don't know if y'all, you heard Tuesday's show. We recorded that at the end of Impact Week. So this is our first episode post Impact Week. If you missed it, last week, Jesse came down to Orlando and we had a thing where all week long, all 5 days, we spotlit 5 different great organizations that we love and we support. And we wanted to raise money and awareness for them. And Monday, we wanted to tackle domestic hunger, and we raised money and packed meals for feeding children everywhere. On Tuesday, we talked to the team at A21 about their amazing work fighting human trafficking and raised money for A21. On Wednesday, we tackled the refugee crisis and learned a lot about that with Preemptive Love Coalition and sponsored or raised money for a safe space for kids in a refugee camp in northern Iraq. On Thursday, we supported World Vision. They are doing amazing emergency work and long-term development work in East Africa, obviously globally, but specifically in East Africa, where Jesse and I were seeing the horrible drought firsthand and the humanitarian crisis that nobody's really talking about. We raised money for them. And on Friday, we raised money to build wells with our friends at Charity Water. It was a packed week. We were going live all week. We had guests all week. We had crazy stunts all week. And over the course of the week, you guys gave over $53,000 to those amazing organizations. So we're really excited about that. And thank you for everybody who joined in on the live stream and who tweeted about it and who gave, especially. We really appreciate everybody participating, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of a grand social experiment. I wanted to see what would happen if we could shine the spotlight on these great organizations and see if we could help support their work and propel their work. And we partnered with our friends at Bright Peak Financial, and they participated financially as well, accelerating everybody's giving. And it was a fun week. It was a chaotic week. It was a stressful week in a lot of ways, with all the essential oils and, endurance challenges and things like that. Yeah. But we made it, and it was a perfect timing for a 3-day weekend. So it was great. And
even if it rained on you the whole weekend.
That's probably why Jesse looked so disheveled. It was actually Impact Week. It wasn't Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
That's a sunburn from all that live streaming he's been doing,
exactly.
having the screen open.
I was under those hot spotlights.
It's actually a chemical burn from the essential oils.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it to you.
Well, he had to exfoliate
I don't suggest you put oils on your skin and then shine a bright light on yourself for 3.5 hours. It will. I mean, I was quite literally cooking. I was cooking,
Yes.
I was like, hey, what's that delicious smell? It smells like, applewood bacon in here. That's literally my face, and it's burning off because there is apple. There's an apple oil.
If you got cooked, you'd smell like applewood bacon.
Exactly. It's
fascinating.
It's lovely.
So gross.
So it was last Wednesday's episode. Things got off the rails. If you want to hear, if your favorite thing about our podcast is when Jesse gets really weird, last Wednesday's episode is one you probably want to tune back into. The essential oils got
That's
to
true. I listened and I thought it was super weird.
It was weird.
I looking back, I don't know if it was the fog juice the essential oils or the combination of both of them put into a fog machine. But, something got, crossed some wires for us upstairs. But, it's all for a good cause.
It was for a good cause.
Things got hazy. It's hazy.
But
That's
I'm happy to report that our newly installed podcast studio decorations did not retain the smell.
Really? There's no smell left at all.
Yeah,
surprising.
this room is covered in like acoustic tiles and fabric tiles and wood. Nothing retained the smell. It just smells normal.
That's fascinating. I would have thought for sure that it would have the smell.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm currently running my essential oils here at Annie's office, so only one of us now is getting.
What are you using? What are you using to invigorate yourself? What is it? Which one?
Today it's citrus and purification.
Wait, there's an oil called purification?
Yes.
Wait, so you combining citrus and purification, or you have a citrus one that is it?
Nope, I'm combining them.
Interesting.
Thank you so much.
I learned a lot about essential oils last week, but it was more trial and error, like self-taught sort of style. We didn't actually. We didn't like read.
And I would say it was mostly error. Like most of what I was told was not.
I never read on like how much to put in,
how to abuse these
to the diffusers, and I thought like, well, like these bottles are little, so like half the bottle, and so we just, that's kind of the ratio we were going each time.
Wait, y'all were dumping like half a bottle into the fogger?
Oh, we were dumping full bottles in the fogger. We were doing half bottles in the diffusers.
Yeah. Wait, were you putting water in there with the oils? Mm-hmm. And then, but it was half to a full bottle. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh, water. We mean almost toxic fog juice. Yes,
and the diffusers we did
is
water.
That fog machine ruined?
No, it's lovely.
Have you run it again?
It was purified and invigorated, or whatever the juices are supposed to do to it.
It has never run better. It is free of toxins and
has a clear mind. It has the clearest mind it's ever had.
I do have a really clear memory of, on camera while the recording was going on. Y'all in the studio were really happy-go-lucky. You were enjoying it. You were playing it up. And then as soon as we hit record, the recording went off. The cameras were down. Jesse just said, "Get me out of this room."
and Tyler, that's the last thing I remember up until 8 a.m. this morning. It's shocking.
They just dropped you off in the middle of the Florida swampland. You had to crawl back to Virginia.
Yeah, back through the Everglades.
Well, that day, it wasn't just the hour and 45 minutes recording the podcast. We also live streamed over 2 hours in this room. So it was like 4 hours of
that was insane.
Inhaling chemicals and purifications, and
it's not chemicals. Your oil friends would tell you.
The fog juice.
All for a good cause.
A little behind the scenes. You can't see it, but our studio, I mentioned last week, finally has the aesthetic build out we've been waiting on, which means in the next day or two, we are installing the cameras. And so we will be taking the video or the podcast to video here in the next week or so. We'll be live switching it broadcast style from the Skype cameras and the studio cameras. And we will be putting like excerpts or like, 3-5 minute clips up online, see how that goes. And then maybe some longer stretches as well. We have a highly edited show, so doing video is tough. But if there is
shocking no one.
That's what I said, man. That's the tightrope without a net, just out there for the world.
That's how the live show was too that we did in the spring. It was like, well, here's everything, everybody.
Yeah, but the live show, at least we were prepared for. We mentally knew that this was going to be unedited. I mean, when we come into this show, it's kind of like we wing it. And then we clean it up afterwards, which again, much to Chandler's chagrin, but I mean, we should get better at it.
Yeah.
So, but like, hey, maybe there's going to be a solid 45 seconds that don't get edited that we can put out on video. So, that's
solid 45
The ratio that I like to do is for every 3 hours, you have about 9.5 minutes of usable content.
Yeah, that's good.
We're getting tons
and I
of
use
time
usable
together,
pretty
but...
loosely. Yeah.
So look for that. That'll be coming out soon. Hey, and if you missed it, speaking of video, on last Friday's episode, we had Johnny Swim join us, and we debuted the new issue of Relevant, and we played 2 songs that they recorded in the Relevant studios, and we put those videos out. And do yourself a favor, go over to Relevant TV or find our YouTube channel, just search for Relevant on YouTube, and watch those videos. They're like amazing. I mean, they're amazing. And we have more to come with Johnny Swim, more performances, some interviews. We did really funny kind of rapid fire Q&A with them. And so all that'll be coming out in the coming weeks. This week in the studio, this is kind of teasing ahead because we won't release these for a little while. We have Levi Lusko coming into the studio. We have Jesus Culture coming in. We have For King and Country coming in, all to record performances and stuff.
Wow.
And maybe Lauren Daigle. We're working on that. The schedule is difficult, but that may happen too. So a lot happening in our studio. So, the podcast coming online, becoming video. There's going to be a lot more video coming from us this fall as well. I'm
Jesse,
really excited about
is this an appropriate time? Cameron just mentioned it, so I'm just going to drop a conspiracy theory. Are you ready?
Oh,
do it.
Yeah. Hear it.
Cameron and Mark, you guys, Chandler in the studio, y'all need to you're the front lines on this conspiracy theory as to whether Joel and Luke of For King and Country actually have an Australian accent or if that is put on.
Where is this stemming from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Reddit thread did you dig this
do
up
you
on?
do you think that like Australian handsome twin singers are slightly more marketable than regularly ruggedly good looking twins?
Well, I mean, they are. Okay, so I've never met the guys, and so I've never heard their accents, Annie. I'll hear it this week. But they are the Smallbone brothers. The Smallbones famously being they are the brothers of Rebecca St. James and that family. When I lived in Nashville covering Christian music, from like 98 to 2000. The Smallbones were there. They were a powerful family in the Nashville scene.
They still are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. There's a pastor of a church that's a Smallbone. There's a lot of them.
I don't trust them. There's a conspiracy for sure. Annie, you've sold me.
So the brothers though were younger, right? They were like middle school at the time or whatever. The family had moved over here a few years prior to when I moved to Nashville because of Rebecca St. James's career. So the brothers are Australian, truly, but they would have moved to the U.S. maybe when they were like 5 to 10. So the question is,
what you're suggesting,
4/5 of their life have been in the U.S. in Nashville of all places, accent wise. So if they've got this remnant Australian accent, where's that coming from? Because they haven't been there in a long time.
And I've toured with them. I adore both of them and their wives. I think they're wonderful people. I have only been around them when I've heard an Australian accent, but I've heard a recording.
So Annie, here's your theory. That, I mean, everyone is aware that the Australian accent is the coolest accent. Like that's not even
Well, you're talking
close.
to a girl who's just in Scotland, so I'm going to disagree with you. But yes, the Australian accent is highly regarded in the Christian world.
Yeah,
the Australian accent is highly regarded in Christianity.
Especially for just ruggedly good looking, just hunks. Hugh Jackman,
hunks.
The Hemsworth brothers, all
That's
Australian.
It.
You know,
That's it.
so
Joel
what
Houston.
Joel Houston, I mean, every Australian male is 6'3", is a surfer, loves Jesus, is this dashing good looks. Yeah, it's very annoying.
It.
You've never been to Australia, have you?
I have not.
Yeah.
Nor have I. I've just watched what they export.
I lived there briefly, and that is very not true.
So Annie, what you're suggesting?
Well, maybe this is what they export. It's their exports. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
So Annie, what you're suggesting is this. That the Smallbones knew of how marketable this accent is. They've been in the United States far long enough for it to have worn off. Yet they are still practicing it and maintaining it by, binge watching reruns of Crocodile Hunter and Crocodile Dundee just late into every evening so they don't lose the accent, so they don't lose the marketability. That's the implication.
I'm looking over to our lawyers, and here's how I want to say this. I'm not suggesting that. I am presenting to you a theory that exists that I have only personally experienced them with Australian accents, but I've heard a recording of non-Australian accents.
Oh.
Where does this recording
release the tapes, Annie?
Yeah,
I won't do it. That is not mine.
Where do these tapes? Where do they exist?
Nope, not doing any of this. I'm just saying to y'all. I think Luke and Joel are legitimately Australian. They are, and I think they sound Australian
by definition. Australian, yes, but they have not lived there. There are
people who have created a theory that maybe in their own time, when left alone, they may not sound quite so Crocodile Dundee.
So here's what she's saying. Annie pulled an Omarosa and is secretly recording meetings. Secretly recording meetings to have dirt on people. And Smallbones, if you don't want this tape released, I suggest you contact Annie and strike up a deal.
This isn't a big deal, but we can cut this out afterwards. I do need to let you know that I think the lawyers had a collective heart attack, and I think they're all dead.
The question is,
You're
do
gonna
they dream
experience them.
in Australian or in American accents?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Well, also, I mean, both of their wives are American. So that has to, I mean, Mariah Peters, Luke's wife, Joel's wife, is for sure American and has an American accent. She's lovely.
Here's the question. Do we know that they are actually different people? Is this
that's a
an
great
elaborate illusion? And they know that if there are two of them, they're twice as marketable.
So you think this is like a Lindsay Lohan Freaky Friday situation?
No, not Freaky Friday. Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
This is
Freaky Friday. They aren't switching places with David Smallbone. They're not becoming their father.
No.
Okay.
This
So
is
he's
a
awesome.
Tiger Woods impersonator situation.
Yeah.
They found a guy who looked like he could be a Smallbone and said, "Welcome to the family."
But Annie, you actually do.
There's only one small bone, and this whole
How deep does this rabbit hole go,
Annie,
Annie?
but
That's the question.
you legitimately
That's why I brought
wonder.
it to you.
You think that because they haven't lived in Australia in 20 plus years, that the accent has actually faded, but when they get on stage, they might turn it back up a little bit
I
because
need
that's
all
what the
of you
crowd
to quit
wants.
saying you think. I'm not taking a stand on this. I'm merely am bringing to you a conspiracy theory that exists. I did not tell you where I stood on it. I just said
Hey,
it
Chandler,
exists.
here's what's going to need to happen. Yeah, they're coming to the studio. Chandler, we need to lay a trap. And here's what it is. Like, you have them go into the studio to like set up for
Like
the recording.
bug the dressing room is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you guys go back there, get comfortable. We got some bottles of water.
And we'll leave
But
y'all alone
beforehand,
and just give you a few minutes to get ready. We'll check on you in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Make
but
them
what
think.
needs to happen, though, is right before they go into the room, we need to spark some banter. So, Mark, I need you to yell something wildly inappropriate before
Yeah.
they enter the room.
Yeah.
So when they go in, they're like, hey, dude, did you hear what that guy just said? That was insane. I can't believe he just screamed that across the entire office. Little do they know, the mics are running, and now we have unfiltered accents, and we will
My
know
guess
for sure.
is there
Annie.
is no, if they're putting on their accent, and I don't think they are, it's just a conspiracy theory. I think there's no break in the armor. Except the one
this is
recording
a
I've
Disney
heard.
cast member situation. I'm wearing the Goofy costume from the
That's
moment
right.
I leave my dressing room, including
right.
backstage, in the hallways, everything. The head is on. I'm in persona, even backstage, because if a child or an outsider or a guest was allowed backstage, I cannot allow Goofy to be seen without the head on. You're
That's
saying
right.
the Smallbones are full persona character anytime they're anywhere, not in their own room or hotel room or house.
Yeah, it's Jim Carrey becoming Andy Kaufman.
We're all going to get a visit from the small bones, like enforcer tonight. Like, we're
I know,
gonna
like
wake up.
literally going to come to the door of
There's
my
gonna be a
office.
silhouette in the doorway. We're going to be like, "What? Who's there?"
He's a big guy.
And
You
it's
know,
Rebecca St.
ironically,
James. It'll
you
be
know,
Rebecca St. James.
No, they have a third brother, and he's very large. His name's Bigbone Smallbone, and he's the enforcer. He's the enforcer. He'll break bones too. He'll break bones. Bigbone Smallbone.
Big Bone,
He's not a man you want to cross. Trust me.
This is how
He
the
only
secret.
says classic Australian words like crikey, and all the other ones. He's a famous
all the
Australian.
other ones. What else, Tyler? What else you got?
This is how the secret has been kept for 2 decades plus because of Big Bone, Small Bone, kind of cleaning up the trail.
The enforcer.
It's basically
Yeah.
the guy at the end of Men in Black. He goes in like with the zapper, and just you did
You
not
don't want to
see
be
a different
catered by
accent.
Bigbone Smallbone. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's coming up. So we have a lot. It's going to be a fun fall of a lot of video content. Obviously, a lot of that stuff will happen here on the podcast as well. But if you haven't, obviously our YouTube channel kind of lied dormant there for a little while, for a year or two. We kind of embraced a transition season away from the old studio and kind of ready for the new one. And it just happened to, as life does, go way longer. The transition was way longer than we had planned. It's actually literally been like 2 years since we've been actively doing stuff. We did the Social Club Misfits videos last month, I believe. Actually, my son was going through YouTube on our TV, and it recommended like these performance videos, and it recommended the Social Club Misfits one. I was like, oh, buddy, have you seen this? We just did this in the studio last month. And I played it for him, and he thought it was like super cool. Like it was like on TV, you know. It was like, it's on YouTube. But go check it out. The Social Club Misfits and this Johnny Swim stuff. It's some awesome stuff. And then we have some great conversations that we've been filming with like Rich Stearns. And like I said, Levi Lusko's coming in and some other guests. So it's going to be a good fall of some new things from us. It's going to be good. Well, moving the show along, it is time for our look back at what happened this week in culture and entertainment. It's time for
In Case You Missed It.
Hey, in case you missed it, this week, Stephen Colbert showed he is the world's biggest Tolkien nerd by connecting an obscure Lord of the Rings reference with a Chance the Rapper song. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the Late Show host explained why he couldn't figure out why Chance's favorite song, which features Childish Gambino, was constantly stuck in his head. He then recognized that the song's rare rhyming pattern was featured in a J.R.R. Tolkien poem featured in Lord of the Rings. Here's a clip of him connecting the dots.
And this is because I link everything back to J.R.R. Tolkien. It's actually from the Song of Eärendil, who is the father of Elrond. And that verse starts with, Eärendil was a mariner who tarried in Arvernian, who built a ship of Timberfell and Nimberfell to sail in. But you can just go, Eärendil was a mariner who tarried in Arvernian, who built a ship of Timberfell and Nimberfell to sail in. It's the same rhythm scheme. So whether or not you know it, Chance and Childish, you wrote a song that includes in it this really kind of rare rhyme and rhythm scheme that Tolkien used in the poem that actually influences all of the rest of the Lord of the Rings.
This clip is totally insane for a number of reasons, but mainly that Colbert has such a deep knowledge of the Lord of the Rings that he literally has like poems within a book in the book memorized and can match them with hip hop songs. I love that he just owns being a big geek like that.
That kind of like you do. Too. You made a career out of it.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. I see this guy going places. I mean, I think he's a real talent.
Do you think he has to dial it back on the show a lot? Like he comes in with a whole list of Tolkien / C.S. Lewis / other fantasy novel ideas for every show. And they always have to be like, Stephen, we talked about, you get one a month, man. We have to cast a wide net here.
That's what we have to do with Jesse's conspiracy theories. It's like, all right, listen, you get one an issue. You get one.
Yeah. This one is being silenced because let's just say a Bigbone gentleman paid me a visit. And we're going to be switching this one out this issue. So.
Don't put that in print.
Oh, man. Hey, in case you missed it, Lecrae delivered a powerful sermon at Miami's VU Church. The rapper recently collaborated with artists Zaytoven and Ty Dolla $ign, and he was a guest speaker at the large South Florida church founded by Rich Wilkerson. He opened the sermon by saying that part of the reason he wanted to speak there was because he'd previously visited unannounced and was treated so kindly by people who didn't recognize him. In the message, he emotionally spoke about how to maintain joy even through seasons of sacrifice and trials. Here's a clip.
We got to be willing to walk through the door of all of it. We got to be willing to let go of it all to become our future self. We've got to be willing to take on the disrespect and the fear and the judgment and the ridicule. The scripture says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame. For the joy set before him. See, y'all, we're in this social media world hoping for likes. But let me tell you something. If you woke up this morning and you loved yourself and you knew God loved you, any additional like is a bonus. It's a bonus. Likes don't change the world. Relentlessness does. The power of God is what changes the world. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it is lonely. You're standing on the edge of something and you're afraid to jump. I know what it's like to be afraid to jump. I was at Hillsong Conference in Australia. I left the conference. We zipped on over to New Zealand. They said, Lecrae, you got to go to this 700-foot building and jump off a base jump. It's amazing. It's a great experience. I said, no, thank you. They said, no, trust me, you got to do it. They hyped me up. They gassed me up. We got to the building. I saw a video of Beyonce doing it. I said, if Beyonce can do it, so can I. Hold up. First of all, there's a million things Beyonce can do that I can't. That was terrible logic. still, I found myself on the top of this 700-foot building. I got to the edge of it. I looked down. I saw Tupac and Michael Jackson waving like, come on.
This clip did pretty well. Like a lot of people watched it when we shared it on the site, and I think it's because it seems like Lecrae, lately, kind of the image he's fostered with these kind of collaborations, and is kind of this crossover artist. He's talked about potentially collaborating with like Kendrick and Chance, but to see him like in a pulpit delivering a sermon was pretty cool. I mean, it shows how diverse his skill set is, because it's a really powerful message.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about him in the pulpit and on the Tonight Show, right? Like what a variety of places he's gotten to share his art. I just think it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Jesse, I just got a text.
Okay.
This is from my main contact at the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
She said, "Hey there, Cam. Will you be in the office Monday at 12:35 by chance for a special delivery?" And by special, I mean very, very cool.
Yeah, so someone comes in with like a hand truck and there's like a large box with a bow on it. And you're like, I can't believe it. What is this? This is awesome. You open the box and it's Bigbone, Smallbone. Balled up in there. It pops out and grabs you. It's all over from there. It all goes dark after that.
Oh, in case you missed it, former United Pursuit worship artist Michael Ketterer moved Simon Cowell to tears. Michael is currently a worship pastor, and he first made an appearance on America's Got Talent earlier this year, where he introduced the judges to his family, including his wife and 6 children, 5 of whom they adopted from foster care. So during the quarterfinals of the show this week, Simon Cowell called him a great human being. And after his performance of James Bay's Us, Cowell started crying, saying, you're a really special guy. I don't know. There's something about you. Here is a clip of the performance.
Tell me how, 'cause I believe in something. I believe in us. Tell me when the lights go down, and even in the dark, we'll find our way out. Tell me how, 'cause I believe in something. I believe in us. I believe in something. Oh, I believe in us.
It's weird. I think that's probably what's going to happen on Monday, is that Stuff the Magic Dragon is going to come here and just tell me I'm a really special guy.
Wait, I'm sorry. His name is what? The Magic Dragon?
Stuff the Magic Dragon. Not Puff. Stuff, like you jam a basketball. Stuff the Magic Dragon.
Sure.
NBA mascot of the year,
thing.
2 years running.
Hey, I picture the same thing. It's Stuff, and he comes and they start taking pictures with you. All of a sudden, you're in a chokehold. And guess what? Stuff takes his head. Guess who? It's Bigbone. He found another way in.
It's always been
It's always Bigbone.
longest con.
Oh my gosh, he's been doing. Oh, those are the best. The long drawn out pranks.
Oh, man. In case you missed it, Colin Kaepernick is a face of Nike's new Just Do It campaign. This made all the internet rounds a few days ago.
No kidding.
The free agent quarterback is largely recognized as the NFL player who started the kneeling demonstration during the pregame national anthems to protest racism and to advocate for criminal justice reforms. And he's among several athletes featured in the new ads, which celebrates Nike's 30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign. One of the images shows Kaepernick's face with the slogan, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Just do it." The ad's been instantly controversial online, but also drew praise from high-profile supporters like former CIA Director John Brennan, Serena Williams, designer Jerry Lorenzo, and New York Jets player and World Vision advocate Kelvin Beachum. Did you also see when this came out that it kind of got released or revealed that, because the whole thing about Kaepernick is that he can't get an audition with a team, and he's better than pretty much every backup in the league and half the starters in the league, and no team will look at him because of the controversy that follows him. And it's like, this guy's, not able to make money. But it turns out that Nike's been paying him all along. And they were just kind of,
but I didn't understand. Yeah. I didn't read about it. I just saw, so they just like salaried him a little bit.
Yeah, they kept him as an endorsed athlete waiting for kind of this moment, but they kept him on the roster and stuff. So So, while Kaepernick's been out there kind of advocating and speaking and, kind of, he's not able to play football, he's actually been able to, make a living. So that's good. So
yeah,
good for him,
and it's notable too. He's given away a tremendous amount of money. He's also donated, a large percentage of his jersey sale revenue, and it's over $1 million that he's given to charities that affect the causes that he's passionate about. And he's also, this is a big year for him personally because he's actually taking legal action against the NFL, trying to prove that the owners essentially colluded to prevent him from working. And so he, not only is he taking on these incredibly important social causes, but he's also taking on the league. And, from what I've read, the evidence seems to be in his favor at this point.
And I think that he had no way of knowing that this Nike thing was going to come. Like when he first started taking a knee on the field, I understand I've seen some cynicism about, well, now he's getting paid by Nike anyway, so it didn't really cost him everything. But this was not part of a long con from Colin Kaepernick.
No,
right,
hoping that he would end up knowing
kind
that
of a positive outcome.
He ended up being the face of the Just Do It campaign.
Right.
He took a chance, and in this case, it paid out with a Nike endorsement. But he didn't know that at the time.
And the Nike endorsement is paying the bills, but he's still not getting to do the dream job that he wanted to do.
Yeah,
so it's not like
he's still not an employed
gotten
athlete.
everything back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you guys saw too, like the backlash online where over the weekend people were like cutting the Nike logo off their socks and they were burning their shoes and things like that. And it's like
Nashville's own Big and Rich. Tweeted out that photo of their sound guy cutting the tops off of his Nike socks.
My thing is just like, so and again, like it's almost like I hate to say it, but more the redneck kind of patriot, audience is kind of saying that this is a slap in the face. Nike's slapping, patriotism in the face, which is just, again, missing the entire point. He's not protesting the national anthem. It is a protest during the national anthem to raise awareness about racial injustice and police brutality. This is not about the anthem. And again, an Army veteran is the one who suggested to Kaepernick to kneel versus staying seated on the bench or not coming out. He said, go out there and kneel, which shows reverence, but also creates a visual demonstration for a greater issue. I don't understand the debate is ignorant. You know what I mean? Like the backlash is ignorant. And I'm not calling the people ignorant, but it is an uninformed objection to the issue. I just don't get it. There is no controversy here.
Exactly.
Anytime it's framed as protesting the national anthem, it's so irritating because he went above and beyond. Colin Kaepernick went above and beyond to make sure that it wouldn't be construed this way.
Right.
But I think a few bad faith players at the top who have a interest in trying to keep it framed that direction have continued to peddle this
false narrative.
He's protesting the anthem.
And ultimately, members of our armed forces, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think a lot of them would not necessarily see their job to defend the national anthem, but to defend the values that it represents. And one of those values that makes America so significant is the value of free speech and free expression. And, ultimately that's what, I think is the other irony is that, what he's doing should be representative of why America, at least initially and during its founding, was so significant, that you are allowed to speak out against the government. This part of why the founding fathers drafted the Declaration of Independence was because they were tired of being under the thumb of a dictator and of a system of government that was above criticism, and that's a founding value of America that should be celebrated, not boycotted.
All right. Preach that.
Anyway. But I agree with you, Cameron. I think critics of it, many of them seem to be misguided in what they're outraged about in this particular case.
Do you know, one of my things about stuff like this, and it's because I haven't studied enough of that side, but like all the people who are cutting the Nike swooshes off of things, they really believe they're right. Like they really believe they're right. And some part of this has been communicated to them in a way that they are really sure that what they are standing up for is the right side.
Right.
And
because they feel all they hear is protesting the national anthem. And so they're going, no, we take pride in America. So it's like they feel completely
they feel so
like a righteous
justified.
fire.
They feel as strong as
Yeah.
we do. That is the thing that blows my mind about stuff like this, is that that they could be on here talking to us and feel and have just as clear an argument as we do. And I don't know. I agree with y'all on all of this. I also wish that I could hear the other side explain themselves in a way that felt rational to me, so that I could go, oh, I see where you're coming from. Because when I hear my friends talking about, I hear y'all talking about, I go, that is so not rational. There's got to be people who are saying this in a rational way. Am I making sense? Do you hear what I'm saying?
I totally. I mean, I don't think you want to paint everyone who disagrees with us or anyone on this issue as, people who are taking part in a boycott or don't believe.
It's not like smart and dumb. And it's not rational and
that's what I'm saying.
irrational.
I'm not saying everyone who disagrees with our view on this particular issue is even against criminal justice system reforms. But I do think there are a majority, like a large, significant and vocal portion of people who are critical of this particular demonstration that do seem to be misguided in what their criticism is, and it seems to be the most vocal who are making cases that aren't actually related to what the demonstration is all about. But the other thing too is like it cuts to the heart of something even deeper, which is the difference between patriotism and nationalism, and how nationalism has gotten to such a point where people hold the country in a reverence that really should only be reserved for God. Like, it's when you look at the idea of nationalism and trying to figure out, is this actually idolatry, where people, their identity is so tied to their national pride that it rivals their identity in Christ, and being, like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, a member of a kingdom that has no borders, and that is identity isn't based on where you were born. That it's where you were adopted into, that's where the other thing that I think gets problematic is when you look at how passionate people get when it comes to issues of nationalism in general.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why I'm comfortable with there being a right and a wrong on this one. A side who's heard the facts and has not, because I think I don't think that Colin Kaepernick is disrespecting the flag. But I would hope that I would never be so upset by somebody disrespecting a flag that I'd be moved to the sorts of demonstrations that I've seen, because the flag isn't where I pledge, my actual eternal allegiance to. It's not where any of us do. It's not where anybody should. And I'm grateful for the people who fight for safety and my rights here, of course. But like you said, Jesse, I also am thankful that we're allowed to exercise those rights. Those are human issues, and human issues, I think, should always trump issues of nationalism.
Yeah. I'm with you that there's a right and a wrong. I don't disagree with you. I just am always amazed when everyone thinks their side is totally rational and totally correct.
I got to be honest with you. It's like going to dinner with family members who only read conservative media or watch conservative news. Same. They only have this perspective, and that is the right perspective. And it's like, I just wish that they'll never listen to the Jon Stewart, John Oliver people who would maybe have a differing intellectual perspective on the news. And Jesse and I were talking just the other day, riding in, we were listening to NPR, and I'm like, it bugs me. NPR doesn't do opinion, like a lot of the talking heads, CNN, Fox News ones. It's not even news anymore. It's just literally just some soundbite, news thing, and then we're going to have 4 talking heads talk about it for the next 20 minutes, and it's all opinion. It's the same thing as ESPN. It's just all opinion. Just give me the sports news. You know what I mean? It bugs me. So I listen to like news sources trying to just get news, but there's such an implicit bias even in what news they report, how they report it. It's like when I go to the gym and there's Fox News on the TV right next to CNN and it's all muted, so you're just seeing the ticker. It is fascinating to watch how what news they're selecting to tell and what they're not. And then if they're having to report the same story, one is from an issue of victim, one is from an issue of aggressor, one is from, like, it's so crazy to me how, so if you're only in taking one perspective, of course that's how you see it's black and white, right and wrong. I mean, like, I've been told that this is right, and like, they don't even know another perspective on the issue, because they haven't listened to any other perspectives on the issues. And that a lot of us the left is just as guilty as the right in that, where you just do an echo chamber. You only follow people on Twitter who feed your own worldview. And like, that's the issue, is that we're uninformed about the other perspectives. And so like, one of the big things I've always cared about with Relevant is trying to build bridges of understanding. And like, let's sit down with somebody who sees the world different than me. I mean, back in the early days, people would ask me like, why do you have secular people on the cover? Why do you cover this stuff that's not Christian? It's like, I want to understand where they're coming from. Or like somebody who's mad that we might have Rob Bell in an issue and have Andy Stanley in the same issue. You're going to tick off both sides. The people who love each of those people are going to be mad that the other one's in there. And it's just like, we should listen to them. We should not that we have to intake everything, chew the meat, spit out the bones, but at least you understand other perspectives on scripture or worldview or, how Christians should engage culture, things like that. You should be challenged and stretched and then have discernment and make up your own mind and don't just like intake whatever somebody tells you to think, think for yourself. That's what I've always tried to do with Relevant. And that's why this era of media is so frustrating to me. It's like the people who look at the Kaepernick situation and only see it, like you said, Annie, as completely justified, that this guy's disrespecting the flag. And it's like, that has nothing to do, but you don't know that. You haven't listened to somebody who's explained to you the other perspective here, the other reality here. And so, you're, in your mind, justified in your righteous indignation. And it's like, I understand that, but but frankly, your information is wrong. And so like, you're upset about the wrong thing. And what is the thing that can cut through that noise and actually make people listen? And again, I don't know, in this day and age, I mean, it's going more and more and more where you withdraw from somebody who sees the world differently than you. You will not even consider their perspective. And I'm making stronger and stronger, kind of barriers in between, segments of society. And it's like, man, I mean, like, I really feel like a calling to try to break those things down. That's what I'm trying to do with my life, is like trying to break those walls down. And it's very frustrating that it's getting more and more the other way right now.
And because I think a lot of people have this idea that consuming media and consuming content is an implicit endorsement of the creators of that content, right? So like, there's this false narrative that's like, let's say I'm watching CNN.
Well, it's barely a false narrative, because if I post a book by an author that my followers don't agree with their theology, I get chewed up.
Yeah, but again, like, if I'm like watching CNN and, or Fox News or whatever the example is in a family member, I can't believe you're watching that. It's like, it doesn't mean I'm endorsing it. Like, if I'm reading like Jordan Peterson, it doesn't mean I'm endorsing him, but I want to know where other people's perspectives are formed, even if I think the person who is behind it is saying things that are problematic. Like, I at least owe it to myself to come up with to have an informed perspective so that I can combat an ideology if it comes to that,
and have empathy and understanding for the person who maybe doesn't have all the information. And you're not like, or you're dumb and you're whatever. You're going, well, let me like try to communicate this info in a way that you'll be open to, like it's important to understand where people are coming from.
Exactly.
It's important to sit down with like a Muslim refugee family and listen to their story and not go, oh, they're Muslims and they're scary and stay away. I mean, it's like, humanize people, understand where they're coming from, and have some empathy.
I also think it's fair that we're careful not to just call the people on the other side rednecks who aren't paying attention.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Right? Because there's a reason all those people are believing what they're believing, even though I agree that they are wrong. I want you to hear me clearly. Yeah. I agree that they're wrong. But there's a reason, something in their narrative is making them feel safe and taken care of, and like they live in a country that they can succeed in if they believe that side of the story.
And I think that's where the idea of speaking the truth in love becomes so important, because I find that most Christians in this country are really good at one or the other. We're either really good at speaking the truth, but we do it in such a cruel, ham-fisted, judgmental way that nobody cares, or we want to be so loving that we don't want to tell people the truth about what is actually going on. And the trick of the gospel of how Jesus told us to communicate with each other and even with people who are outside the Christian community is to do both at the same time. It's not an easy thing to do. That's why it takes a lot of work and takes a lot of being attuned to how God is shaping you and teaching you how to listen and creating you to be more and more like his son. But it's valuable. And I think the current divisiveness, not only within this country, but within our own faith group has gotten to where it is because we do not practice that very well.
Well, but look at Paul. Paul would go through, there's a story where he's, on his missionary journeys trying to spread the gospel. And his entry point wasn't, hey, everyone, you're wrong about everything. And I have the truth now. And here's what it is. He used cultural entry points from philosophies that he didn't agree with. And the implication is that he was familiar with them to the degree that he could discuss them with people. And he met people where they were at. And in order to do that, he had to understand how their views and values were formed. And I think that's a powerful example of... And
fascinating what happened to him, right?
Yeah.
He spends his life in jail because he was everyone. He was what is the scripture? I want to be every man to every person, right? He tried to balance those two things you just said, Tyler, and it put him in jail.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't always have the results.
Benefit your personal life. That's right. That's right.
Precisely.
In case you missed it.
Bigbone's here. Bigbone's here. I
Smallbone.
gotta go.
This week, Michael W. Smith. I had no segue. Sorry.
No segue
Michael W. Smith explained how a nervous breakdown led him back to faith. The Christian music legend plays a pastor in the new film Beautifully Broken. And while describing the importance of faith-adjacent films, is that the new term now? Faith-adjacent films?
He did. I think he took some issue with the idea of it being called a Christian movie. And this actually, Variety actually gave this a really, really good review. But I think that, in calling this one more faith adjacent, I think he doesn't want people to go in with a perspective that it's necessarily evangelizing to them,
Gotcha. So it's not like church groups buying blocks of tickets.
I mean, they might be. I mean, that's certainly possible. I mean, he's still, talking to Christian media outlets, and I mean, I think in the quote that you'll read here, he kind of says what he thinks is wrong with the whole idea. With I won't say this. I don't think he has any problem with the term Christian movie. I think he has a problem with the movies that are largely associated with that term.
Gotcha. Anyway, so he was describing the importance of those films being transparent about real struggles, and he opened up about a dark chapter in his own life. He said, I was playing with fire in the late 70s, and I had a near-death experience and began to pray that God would rescue me because I knew I would die if something didn't change. At the time, he was struggling with drugs and alcohol abuse. He said, then I had this nervous breakdown. Beyond honestly, it was just that God came and he laid down beside me on the floor in my kitchen as I wept and convulsed for 3 hours, from midnight to 3 a.m. I haven't been the same since I got up off that floor. Michael Dubs, said that more Christian-leaning films would benefit from showing the difficult aspects of life. He said everybody's got stuff going on in their lives, every believer, every non-believer. I mean, you can't just avoid it. We live in a broken world, and unfortunately, that's my problem with a lot of faith-based films that seem to be nicely wrapped up in a bow. You don't really get the raw things of what's going on in people's lives, and that's what I love about this movie. So there you go.
Yeah, like I said, the movie is getting pretty good reviews. It's definitely different than I think some of the movies that he seems to be criticizing that are typically thought of as faith-based, that everything wraps up really neat and nicely at the end, and everyone's better and everyone's life is automatically better because they said a magic prayer. I think he's trying to tell a story beyond just that.
I saw him interviewed last week, like a Q&A, and with about 40-ish people in the room. And I was so impressed because I thought, man, this guy's been doing this faith, like a public faith life for 40 years, right? Not to count the how long he was a believer before he became a public musician. I don't know. I'm just impressed when people finish, like there's our church is like the staff is doing the 1 year Bible, and I never sit down and read it because I just am not great at that. So I listened to the audio of it. And this morning, one of the scriptures it read to me was, finishing is more important than starting. And I was like, gosh, that is like, it's from Ecclesiastes. And I was like, man, that is it. And that's what I think about when I think about Michael W. Smith. Like he's going to finish really well in a lot of years, not anytime soon, but just his perseverance and his tenacity and honest stuff. Like what you said, Cameron, about him having panic attacks. And I don't know. I've loved him for a long time. He was like my very first Christian artist that I owned tapes of back in the 80s, but I've never been more impressed with him as a human and like as a man of God than I am after hearing him last week.
Well, and even his willingness to criticize, part of what, what's looked at as like the Christian entertainment industry with, these movies for him. Yeah. And because of his career, that might be somewhat of a risk, but he's calling it, he's saying what's true, and I think it's good that he's willing to do that.
Yeah. Was he your first like CCM crush, Annie?
For sure. No question. I thought he was so cute. I listened to because I like Stephen Curtis Chapman too, but he just wasn't like my type. So it was more.
You want to hear my Michael W. Smith impression? It's pretty good.
Close your eyes. You won't be able to tell the difference.
My place in this world, place in this. Sorry.
Wow, you're like every other person who comes on the show and does impressions.
He's got like the saltines on the throat.
Dig deep for that one.
Catapulted there.
Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. Chandler, you got to play a clip. Take us out.
Your eyes are
watering right now. Literally.
Chandler, take us out on a clip, and people will be like, "Which one's Jesse? Did he just put a music pad behind Jesse's vocals? That's incredible."
I couldn't figure out in the 80s how the Dubs got his voice to sound like he was eating saltines all the time. Like it was like how does he do that?
Calling through the dark to find my place in this world.
Okay, to be fair, that one was better. That was better than the first one, yeah. I mean, Jesse, that feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, my next conspiracy theory, that feels like you've practiced that.
Oh, yeah. He brings that out in parties,
frequently.
Yeah, that wasn't just on the fly.
Waiting for this moment, and it arrived. The long con. And here's the thing. I don't know if little, trip behind the curtain. I set up these in case you missed it bits, and it's like, if this one was first in the lineup, they would know that he just did it to finally unveil the impression after years. I nested it right at the end of a good discussion to be like, so that I'd blindside you all. It's the long con has finally paid off. I tender my resignation. And I'm on to the next con.
The next thing you need to do is adopt an Australian accent.
Hey, I have learned the lesson the hard way not to do that. And by the lesson the hard way, I mean Bigbone, Smallbone. It's strike 3 with him. It's strike 3. And I've only got one strike too. So
I'm really glad that this episode is going to come out on the day the day that For King and Country is in our studio, because there's no chance they will have heard it before they arrive. And there's no chance that they will know anything about the ridiculously of what we have espoused about.
Oh, they know. Don't.
They have ears everywhere. Yeah.
Have you not been paying attention this entire time?
All right, well, that'll do it for In Case You Missed It. Stay tuned. Up next, Craig Groeschel joins us.
I don't know if I even care for grown, if it's yours alone. Yeah. And I guess the bad can get better. Gotta be wrong before it's right. Every happy phrase engraved in my mind. I've always been a go-getter. There's truth in every word I write, but still the growing pains,
You're listening to Alicia Cara. The song is Growing Pains. It's the Bravo remix from her new Remixes album. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard Interpol with their new one, If You Really Love Nothing. Craig Groeschel is a pastor of Life.Church, a multi-site church that draws more than 50,000 people each week. I don't know, you might have heard of it. In his new book, Hope in the Dark, he explores how to maintain a belief that God is good even when life seems bad. Fascinating conversation. Here is part of our conversation with Craig Groeschel.
Craig, let's start off by talking a little bit about Hope in the Dark. I was reading that you had actually written this book some time ago, but didn't feel like it was quite the right time to release it for the rest of us. Can you tell me a little bit about that story?
Yeah, Tyler, I actually started, when I first wrote it, it wasn't intended to be a book. There's a lady that works in my office named Adrienne Manning, who's kind of like family to me. And she and her husband, Danny, were trying to conceive for a long time. And they finally did. And so we were like really excited and celebrating with them. And then a while later, she came in and said that they lost the baby. And she was a relatively new believer at the time. And so not only was it tragic, but it was really rattled her faith. Mm-hmm. And so I gave her some time off, obviously, to grieve and just spend some time with her husband. And so I decided to write a letter to her, just try to bring some comfort. And what started out, I thought it would be a few pages, turned into a lot of pages. And when she came back in, I gave her the letter, and she went home and read it overnight with her husband. And she came back in the next day, and she just said, "This is probably the difference between me staying with my faith and me walking away." So I was really thankful that the letter served its purpose. It really ministered to her. Well, I left it just on a computer, didn't talk about it. Literally years went by, Tyler. And a few years ago, a little over 2 years ago, my daughter, Mandy, my second daughter, I've got 6 kids. Mandy, right before she was getting married, got really sick. And we thought she'd get better, a week or two or whatever. And she didn't. And several months went by and she still hadn't improved. And it was, horrible for all of us, wondering what in the world's going on with this sweet girl. So I went and thought, I'll pick up that letter I wrote to Adrienne and just kind of see what I said to her. And it was so crazy. The letter that I wrote to someone else, it seemed like words that someone else wrote for me. I cried all the way through it, and it really spoke to me, even some of the struggles that I was having with it all. And that's when I called the publisher and said, "Hey, would you be open to me making this letter into a book?" And so that was the beginning of the book, Hope in the Dark, Believing God is Good When Life is Not.
Believing God is good when life is not. That is such a common struggle, and always has been a common struggle for as long as there's been a church, God's church on earth. There's been that struggle with doubt about how can we reconcile these two truths that seem to be in apparent contrast with each other. Why do you think that's that's haunted the church for its existence? And what are some of the without giving away too much of the book, what are some of the conclusions or the things that you came to while writing this book to help us with that struggle?
What's interesting, I've done a lot of books, and I haven't had one that seemed to hit hearts as directly as this one. Mm-hmm. And part of what I tell people is this book is not for everybody. If your life's good right now, it's not for you. At least not right now. And I think the reason this is such a common question is a couple of reasons. I think one is kind of in what I would call like our American version of Christianity or our Western version of Christianity. There's kind of this implied belief that if I follow God, then only good things should happen to me. If I, whatever it is, fill in the blanks, read my Bible, give money to the poor, go to church, do good things, serve somewhere, then God needs to do good things. And if he doesn't, then either God isn't good, he doesn't care, or I must have done something wrong. And that's the implication. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just really bad theology. I think, Tyler, the other big reason is, and your question is exactly the question that we all ask. You said something like, what's the conclusion? And we all want some kind of neat answer at the end where everything works out fine. And I think that's the reason why this book is ministering to people, because there isn't a why. There's no conclusion. There's no resolution. The book Hope in the Dark is based loosely off the book of Habakkuk. And Habakkuk is one of the most beautiful, powerful, and yet frustrating books in the Bible, because there's no, and then God does the miracle at the end story. Mm-hmm. And that's where so many of us live. In fact, what I'd hoped to do, honestly, was at the end of the book, after I'd turned it in, like right before it was published, was write an afterword or put in an appendix. Now here's what happened to my daughter Mandy. Now God made her all better, and praise God, here's the happy ending. And that doesn't exist in the book, and it doesn't exist in real life. And that's where so many people live. They still battle depression. They still hurt after a divorce. They still grieve the loss of a loved one. And God may bring comfort, but it doesn't always just work out with a perfect, happy fairy tale spiritual ending. And I think there's power in that. In fact, just the name Habakkuk, the book's based on the Old Testament minor prophet Habakkuk. The name Habakkuk means both to wrestle and to embrace. And in the book, what I'm trying to do is give believers permission to go ahead and wrestle with the unanswered questions, to go ahead and wrestle with doubts, to push back on God at times and say, why are you allowing this? Why aren't you doing something? But at the same time, we wrestle, we don't let go of God. We can wrestle with him for things we don't understand, but we continue to embrace him. And I think that's the power of the gospel. It's the power of this message. And I'm thankful that it is speaking to some people in a really significant way.
I think something that's been a struggle of mine as someone who's grown up with the church, struggle with a lot of people who grew up in the church, is those stories aren't the ones that are told, right? The testimonies that are shared, they get the fancy videos or people go on stage. They have a cool ending and it's exciting and it's worth praising God over, but you don't hear the flip side or the other side of that, which has been so many of our experiences where there's not really a happy ending or even maybe an ending at all. It just sort of, like you mentioned with Habakkuk, it just sort of continues and doesn't really get that coda. What are some ways that you think we can sort of change our mentality as an American church to open ourselves up to the sort of faith that you talk about in Hope in the Dark?
Well, I think we need to walk in the tension that God is always a good God. Anything's possible with God. He is a God who does miracles, and we rejoice in those. At the same time, our faith isn't based just on God giving us the desired outcome. Our faith needs to be based on who he is, his character, his nature, his goodness, his sovereignty. From my perspective, Tyler, since I'm a preacher, I did notice this, and I have to kind of confess and almost give a negative critique on my preaching. Almost all the sermons I preach do have and here's the God miracle at the end. And so I taught on the book of Habakkuk in our church, and the first week I explained, this is not a sitcom sermon. What's a sitcom sermon? I made that up. But, in a sitcom, generally speaking, all the problems are resolved in 30 minutes or less, including commercial breaks. In most of our sermons in this part of the world, they're kind of resolved at the end with a Romans 8:28, and God works all things together for good. And that's always true. But the good isn't always the good we want it to be. And so I left every message hanging with and then Habakkuk still had a question. And at the end of chapter 1, it wasn't answered. At the end of chapter 2, he was still waiting on God to do what God said he was going to do. At the end of chapter 3, was pretty powerful. He has this kind of, there's a word at the beginning of chapter 3 that is the word shijanoth that's used one time in the Bible. It's basically a description of how to praise, and it's this like full body with everything in you praise. And this is what Habakkuk does: is he says, God, even though the fig tree isn't going to blossom, even though the grapes aren't going to be on the vine. In other words, even though all these bad things are going to happen to me, yet I will praise you. And that's one of the most powerful things, even though there's not a happy ending, even though the prayer that I wanted you to answer is never answered, I'll still praise you. It's not a sitcom sermon, and yet he's got this real revelation of who God is, but it was not anywhere close to the American happy ending. I got a better job with benefits, new house, and a car that drives itself,
That was Craig Groeschel. Make sure to check out his new book, Hope in the Dark. It's out now. You're listening to Noah Cyrus and Lil Xan. The song is Live or Die. All right, well, it's time. Well, normally this would be the time for your listener of the week. But as you learned on last Wednesday's show, something more pressing came along, and we decided that Jesse should become, for a little while, your life coach.
Yeah.
And
this is terrible.
And we went. You guys went to Twitter to ask Jesse your questions that you need some life coaching on. We decided we would pick one maybe for the next couple weeks. You know, we'll see how this goes. And you guys that used hashtag Ask Jesse and posited your
and we just
problems.
have to sit here and let him ruin people's lives.
No, he's life coaching them. This is a good and helpful exercise.
Exactly. This is a positive thing.
All right.
Annie.
I'm not going to say a word. I'm hoping to pick up a little like kind of residual wisdom.
Annie, I welcome your I say your feedback and criticism, but I mean it's probably just be admiration. But whatever you need to say.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So the tweet that caught our eye for this debut edition of Ask Jesse was from McKenna Sneed. Welcome to the show, McKenna.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. I'm going to read your question here, but before I do that, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you guys from Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Beautiful this time of year.
Love Denver.
Mile high. Mile high.
Mile high. Sir.
Way up there. Way on up. I know. Very
Way
familiar.
up there. Very familiar. Wonderful airport. Okay, so I'm going to read McKenna's problem for Ask Jesse. Here we go. She says, I'm going into my junior year of school, and I'm soon to be transferring to a tiny Christian college. I'm nervous about breaking into the community there. Jesse, how do I make a big first impression and set myself up for success for the next 2 years?
I can see the wheels turning already.
This is McKenna, what a great question. What a great question. Let me ask you.
Because
come to the
you
right
are
place
experienced in
and no
going
one
to a Christian college,
ever.
Jesse, so you know.
Yeah, I totally know. McKenna, let me ask you this. How comfortable are you coming up with an Australian accent? And
I feel like if I have some time to practice still, so I think I could get that ready. I think I could do it.
we've talked extensively
they all say.
on this episode about how exotic the Australian people are. So what you need, so this is advice one.
Christian culture is fascinated with Australians. You know?
Yeah, especially in Christian culture. This is a Bible school you're going to. Christians love Australians. Look no further than Hillsong, right? You're setting yourself up for success, but you'll also need a backstory, and you'll need to commit to the accent. You have 2 years there, McKenna?
Yes, 2 years.
The other thing to do is to maintain it is to, right before graduation, disappear and never return. And you will live forever in their stories. You're like, remember that cool Australian girl, McKenna, who had the Australian accent? She had an exotic backstory about, growing up in the outback and surfing and hunting crocodiles. And then 2 days before graduation, she left a note and disappeared. Now, this one requires you not to get your degree. Are you comfortable with that?
Right? It sounds reasonable.
Because you could graduate and go on to a career in ministry, or you could not graduate and go on as a legend. Which one sounds more appealing?
Which one's better?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so the other one, let's say you don't have that level of commitment. I understand. Annie, first off, what is your feelings about that advice? First off, Annie.
Admiration, pure admiration.
That's what I thought. That's what I think it was. A speechlessness is what I was getting from your end. McKenna, this one.
I'm taking it all in.
If you don't have that level of long con commitment, which look, I understand. Here's another one. You said this is a tiny Christian college. What are you getting your degree in there, McKenna?
Education.
Okay, so your plan is to be a teacher.
Yes.
What I love about this one is this one will carry over to the first, this will carry over to your first teaching job as well. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
I have a lot of experience in Christian college, right? So I went to Oral Roberts University. It's a little bit larger. It's probably mid-range school. But here's who I found out are automatically the coolest kids in Christian colleges, okay? The bad kids, the ones that come on.
Yeah,
that's the one everyone wants to hang out with. So here's what you do, McKenna. First day, okay? Do you have access to a hot rod or at least a rental car of some sort?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what you need to do.
See, McKenna's an all yes kind of girl. I like her.
I like her can-do attitude. Yeah, it's good.
So McKenna, here's what you're going to need for this. You need a really rad leather jacket. Is that going to be a problem?
Oh, I have one. I'm ready. Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
get the.
Okay.
She has a hot rod. She has a leather jacket.
Hot rod leather jacket. Here's what you need to do. You need to show up. Don't show up on moving day when all the other people are. You'll blend in there. Everyone's too focused on moving in. Start the first day. Or do they have chapels at this school, McKenna?
Yes, they do.
Okay, you need to start the first day of the first chapel, and you show up 5 minutes before the chapel service is going to start, speeding across the campus in the hot rod. You got it so far?
Because everybody is outside.
Everybody's outside walking to chapel. Here's what you need to do, McKenna.
Brilliant.
You need to go flying up to the chapel, slam on the brakes, do a sweet donut, pop out of the car, and then lean up against the side real cool like in your leather jacket. And you ask somebody, where's everyone going? And someone goes, oh, it's the first chapel. You go like this, nah. And then you just lean up all cool on the car. Now, here's what's cool. I hope you're not offended by this. When they come out of the chapel and you're leaning up against the hot rod with your leather jacket, you need to be vaping. I don't know if you're comfortable with this. But that's going to send the message. McKenna's the cool bad girl. Are you comfortable with this, McKenna?
I feel like this is all gold. I'm ready to go.
Because what's going to happen is you're looked at as the cool outlaw in a school full of squares, and everyone's going to want to be your friend. And even if people don't want to be your friend, a lot of people are going to be trying to reach out to you because they think they have that good Christian missionary sense about them. Either way, you're going to be the most popular kid on campus.
Yeah,
instantly.
that's what it is. That's why the bad boy is so attractive at a Christian school, because you can missionary date him.
Yeah. McKenna, how do you see? Like, I feel like this. You'll have your. Are you single, McKenna?
Yes, I am.
You see, this will help you.
All those guys who want to be pastors.
Oh yeah.
Game over.
Yeah. They're all. Yeah, exactly.
You're the hot ticket on campus now.
McKenna, I'm setting you up for such success, and all you need is 3 successes. I mean, can I tell you one thing that would also help your kind of foster this image when they're coming out of chapel. If you're not comfortable with vaping, how about this? You're sitting on the trunk of the car reading "Love Wins" by Rob. Are you comfortable with that?
Oh man.
How do you feel about that,
Jesse?
McKenna?
Whose car is it though? Because she's on a motorcycle, so is she like the dean's car?
Yeah. You're just outside chapel. Everyone's like, okay, this McKenna, she's bad news, and that's good news for you.
That's funny, man.
McKenna, how comfortable are you with this life advice?
I feel like probably I'm ready to go to school now. I have like 3 months to prep for this, and so I could go tomorrow though. Like I'm ready. Just got some time to work on that Australian accent.
3 months? I don't understand what school this is that starts in December.
I'm transferring in January. I'm actually coming to Nashville. I'm going to Lipscomb, and so I'll be there in January.
Watch this front. Yeah, serious.
Disregard all that advice.
McKenna, here's the other thing. Annie mentioned motorcycle. If you can get a motorcycle, it would be really cool. Especially 3 months is adequate time to learn to do a sweet wheelie. Everyone will think that's killer.
What Nashvillians? What's different about Lipscomb? I mean, I know like Belmont. I don't know what's different about Lipscomb.
It's Church of Christ.
Oh,
so they right.
Yeah,
so
very conservative.
They have chapel and there's no instruments. And but I have a ton of friends who went there. Really lovely people. So
I think it increases the necessity of doing all these things. This is pure survival now.
Yeah.
McKenna, if my advice doesn't work, just name drop Annie.
No. But I'll see you at basketball games because I love going to Lipscomb basketball games because a buddy of mine is on the team.
If I don't get kicked out of the school before then, I will definitely see you there.
Well, you're coming in January. You'll have plenty of time. If you can just make it 1 week, we'll go to a game.
But here, McKenna, one last thing. What grade do you envision yourself teaching after graduation?
Probably early childhood, so the little guys.
Because I was going to say you can employ the same strategy and be really cool with the students, but that typipally works if you're a high school student. But you could do it and you'd be the coolest teacher among teachers. So this works at multiple stages in life.
Yeah, it's good. He's not wrong.
So
a motorcycle and an Australian accent for small kids sounds like the road to success for sure.
You really can't go wrong. I mean, this is fantastic advice. McKenna, I hope we're allowed to check in with you in 3 months.
Yeah, we should.
If you're not expelled, let us know how it all went down.
I will be working on that accent up until the day I'm there.
Good.
There you go. And listen, here's my one piece of advice. It's not near as good as Jesse's, obviously, but There's a place here called Baja Burrito. Go eat there. They're the best burritos. That's all I can give you. The rest of it, you should do exactly what Jesse says.
Perfect. Okay. Baja Burrito, motorcycles, Australian accents. I'm ready.
All right. Well, thanks for
you got it,
sending
girl.
us your Ask Jesse life coaching question, McKenna. All the best as you start your new chapter at Lipscomb. Please don't get kicked out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.
We got a couple of waivers we need you to sign before you hang up.
Hey, if you want advice for your life to be enriched in some way, hit us up at Relevant Podcast and use hashtag Ask Jesse, and we will select listeners next week too. I
look forward to helping. I feel like that was really good advice. Annie, real talk.
I mean, I've never heard anyone given the advice to start vaping. So to go from
I'm telling her
non-smoker to
how
vaping.
to be the baddest cool kid on the Christian college campus, Annie. And you have to be willing to have some moral compromises. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm nothing short of impressed.
Wow. Maybe don't do Ask Jesse. Okay. Thanks to Craig Groeschel for joining us. His new book, Hope in the Dark, is out now. You can also follow him on Twitter at Craig Groeschel. If you haven't seen his name spelled, good luck phonetically spelling that one. Hey, the new issue of Relevant.
Gross. Let me spell it for him, Cameron. It's imagine you found like a gross clam, like a disgusting clam. And you're like, gross shell. Oh, that's nailed it.
Nothing
It's just
like
spelled
that.
just like
Not how you spell it.
Helpful.
Nothing like that.
Memory device.
That's
Just
phonetically true. That is going to make you.
It's a slimy,
You're going to get a
empty
weird
clam
guy on
shell.
Twitter if you follow that guy.
Oh, wait. Cameron, I do have a feeling we may be talking to the
Yeah, I
wrong
was going to say,
Craig
you
Groeschel.
misbooked it. That was,
This guy was wondering
This
why
guy's a
Relevant
fisherman.
Magazine wanted to
he was
interview
excited
him.
to talk about his...
It was in the notes, so.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, the new issue of Relevant is out now. It features Johnny Swim on the cover and a lot of other great content. We have Foster the People in the issue. We have W. Kamau Bell. We have, Bo Burnham's in the issue. Just it's stacked. It's stacked. Christine Kane, Hillsong Young and Free. I mean, it's a ton. You can view the issue online at relevantmagazine.com, or you can pick it up at newsstands nationwide. And right now, if you go to the website, there's a great subscription deal going on. If you've been listening to the show and you like it, you'll like the magazine a lot better. Go subscribe, support it. On that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
Chandler String.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Tyler Huckabee.
And I'm Annie F. Downs.
We will see you on Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
My place in this world, place in this. Sorry.
Relevant Podcast Network.